Ladies and gentlemen, we are in December, which means it is time.
Is it?
Go with the flow, Rory.
Okay, it's December,
Yes,
the
not
8th month
August.
of the year.
Not August. It's December, which means we are coming at you from the glorious Impala Films headquarters in snowy Southend-on-Sea.
Oh, can you turn the heating up? I'm freezing.
And that means, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking Christmas movies.
Yes.
Christmas movies, which I'm sure for some of you means you won't want to listen to the show for the next month or so, because some people absolutely despise Christmas movies. For me, they're kind of just there. They exist. I watch them at Christmas time. Most of them I'm like, well, that's cheesy, but okay.
Are we going to do Christmas with
Some
the
of them are
Franks?
terrible. Not this year,
Okay.
because it looks awful.
Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, it looks awful.
As a couple.
Looks awful.
It does, doesn't it? It looks awful.
Yeah, have you ever seen it?
No,
It looks awful, doesn't it?
I've seen a review by, I think it's Alison Pregler. It's awful.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going all the way back to ye old year of 1996 to look at the Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dun, 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 dun.
Teaming up with Anakin Skywalker, ruh-roh, in Jingle All The Way. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about Jingle All The Way, the 1996 Christmas classic, or at least people tell me it's a Christmas classic. We're going to get on to whether or not it actually is. I know loads of people who saw this when they were kids, people around my age, who saw this when they were kids, around the time it came out, and to this day swear down that this is one of the best Christmas films ever made.
Okay.
I don't necessarily feel the same. But let's just take a look at what we're dealing with here. So this came out in 1996. It is directed by Brian Levant. I'm just very quickly, Rory, I'm just going to read you this man's filmography because it's not very long. And it's an interesting filmography.
Okay.
I'm not going to use the word good. He seems to exclusively do children's films.
All right.
Which is interesting.
For Columbus.
So he started in 1991. This was only his fourth film. So he did Problem Child 2. Two.
Started off with a sequel.
Beethoven, which is about a big dog in it.
Yeah, I know Beethoven.
The Flintstones movie, which I have seen, with John Goodman in it. Jingle All The Way. Flintstones 2, Viva Rock Vegas, which I've also seen, and it's awful. And they didn't get any of the original cast back for it.
No, because it was awful.
Snow Dogs.
Yeah.
Are We There Yet?
I mean,
That's Ice Cube and Steve Martin, that is, isn't it?
Is it?
Are we there yet? I'm sure it's Ice Cube
probably
and Steve
is,
Martin. Oh, no, it's just Ice Cube. It's just Ice Cube. I think I'm thinking of Daddy Daycare, that's Steve Martin. The Spy Next Door, which is an awful-looking Jackie Chan movie from 2010. An American spy action comedy starring Jackie Chan along with Billy Ray Cyrus, Hannah Montana's dad. And his last film in 2017, Max 2, White House Hero.
Max 2?
Yeah, so Max 1 I remember coming out in cinemas. Max is based on a true story film about an army service dog who I think was involved in the Iraq War or something.
Right.
But look at these differences in posters. I'm afraid the audience won't be able to see this, but dramatic poster, yeah, for Max 1. That's Max 1.
Right, so it's a dog on a mountain looking
Going
heroic.
for a bit of a different tone with Max 2. How cheap does that look?
It's a dog on the White House lawn looking
Badly
overly
photoshopped.
Oh yeah, like I mean that's American Pie style bullshittery.
That is literally that's not even the theatrical American Pies. That is the direct to DVD American Pies, where clearly they couldn't get any of the actors around on the same day, so they just photoshopped them all together. Anyway,
which is ironic because that's how the big budget posters like the Marvel movies are now done. It's just like, oh, we get them all on different days and photos on green screen.
Anyway, back to Jingle All the Way. It was written by Randy Cornfield.
Randy
Cornfield.
Ooh, Randy.
Corn spelt
that sounds like a porn star name.
Corn spelt with a K.
Oh.
So, do you think he's a fan of? Do you think he's
That's a gothic porn star.
Do you think he's a freak on a leash? Do you think he's listening to this on his twisted transistor?
I like these jokes. I wish I could join in, but I haven't actually heard a lot of Korn.
They're crap. I used to
Is
like.
he the Master of Puppets?
That's Metallica.
Yeah, told you I didn't know much about Korn.
I used to like Korn when I was younger, and I still like some of their songs. But
it's Follow the Leader was their first album, wasn't it?
It was. I think that was the first one. Yeah.
See, anyway, I can have like a metaler.
Produced by Chris Columbus.
Yep.
With cinematography by Victor J. Kemper.
None of these are as good porn star names as Randy Cornfield.
Victor Kemper is now retired because he's 96 goddamn years old. He was, from 93 to 96, the president of the American Society of Cinematographers.
So you're going to say the president of the United States.
And he has... It looks like he's been the cinematographer on some pretty good movies, actually.
I mean, cinematographer doesn't necessarily make or break a film.
But also on some very bad films. Oh, what a way to go out. Do you know what his last film was before he retired?
Go on, then.
He was the cinematographer on the third installment of the Bring It On series. That's a way to go out, innit? Fucking hell.
You want to go out on a high, obviously.
And anyway, this film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Rita Wilson, Robert Conrad, Jake Lloyd, Anakin Skywalker himself, Jim Belushi, and the late, great Phil Hartman. And we're not going to make jokes about Phil Hartman. It's incredibly sad what happened to him. So
is that the guy who was the voice actor in Simpsons?
Of Troy McClure, yeah. Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
His wife killed him.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah, I remember that story. I thought I recognised the voice, so I swear it's that guy.
Yeah, every time when he's talking about
I'm just hearing Troy McClure.
These cookies are so good, all I could hear was, I'm Troy McClure.
He's got such a distinctive voice.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I think probably best part of this movie.
Yeah, he's the best.
It's the best
actor
performance.
in it. Yeah, he's the best performance in the film.
Because he's so hateable.
Yeah,
because he's
and slimy.
Yeah, he's such a goody two shoes, isn't he?
Yeah.
That bit near the end, I know I'm jumping ahead, but that bit near the end when he's trying to make a move on Schwarzenegger's wife, and he's like, I'm a very eligible bachelor, if you haven't noticed, and it's like, fuck you. This movie was made for a budget of $75 million, and its box office gross was $129.8 million.
Okay.
Its reception, on its opening weekend, it made $12.1 million, opening at number 4 behind Star Trek First Contact, Space Jam, and a film called Ransom, which I've never heard of.
Oh, Ransom!
It's got Mel Gibson in it.
The only one of those that I've not yet seen, and it annoys me. I have got it on Blu-ray, but I haven't watched it particularly because we're going to cover it on this show. Is Space Jam.
Yeah.
I've seen Ransom.
That's our season 1 finale, I think.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Star Trek, so I have seen First Contact, the best of the next-gen films. But it's also just an action movie. Not particularly layered. But anyway, that's a great film. That's fine that it beats this, to be honest. It deserves to. Ransom's an odd movie. It's Mel Gibson. And his son, and I think it's his son and wife, or might just be I think it's just his son, actually, gets kidnapped by terrorists of some kind who basically just want to ransom him. We want several million. Now, what's weird about the film is, while it's got some grit to it, it would largely be child-friendly, except for he says the word fuck every other line.
Right.
And it's like, literally, they put the word fuck into the story multiple times to ensure it got an adult rating, because there's not really anything else in
Right.
it that's that brutal. So it is an odd one.
And funnily enough, when it released in the UK, it was top of the box office. So,
Interesting.
And that is interesting because we'll talk a bit more about this later, but you said you thought this would do better in America than in Britain.
Yeah.
But it looks like it might have done better in the UK.
Wow.
But to be fair, the UK in the 90s, I think, was very big on Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, we love the Schwartz.
So in terms of its reception, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an approval rating of 19%.
Oh, it's not that bad a film, Jesus.
Yeah. Critic Mike Drucker said, despite its fairly entertaining build-up and somewhat serious commentary on materialism during the holidays, the end of the movie takes a realistic conceit and adds in comedy sci-fi elements. Not only does this movie take a turn for the cartoony, but the end is basically everybody laughing and learning their lesson without any realistic resolution to the situation. It's as if the screenwriters couldn't figure an easy way out of Howard's situation, so they added in slapstick comedy and the ending from an episode of Full House.
That sounds about right, to be honest.
Yeah, the critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes reads, Arnold Schwarzenegger tries his best, but Jingle All The Way suffers from an uneven tone, shifting wildly from would-be satire on materialism to an antic slapstick yuckfest. Emmanuel Levy felt the film was highly formulaic and criticised the direction as being little more advanced than a television sitcom. Ooh, burn to TV sitcoms there. That's not good.
I'm just trying to think. To be fair, there isn't anything particularly cinematic in the way this was shot.
No, there's not.
So it could. If it had less budget and obviously didn't have Arnie and stuff in it, you could do this as a TV film quite easily. It would work as that medium. It probably was designed to be honest, because it would need to be watchable for pan and scan TVs of its era, and it would need to be watchable next Christmas and the Christmas after, so that the studio would basically reap more of its money back. Yeah. So it was probably designed to be as TV friendly as it could be.
Yeah.
There's not much that happens at the sides of the frame, which suggests to me it was designed with the idea that this will be played at home mostly, and you don't need to see the action at the sides of the frame.
BBC's Neil Smith criticised the script, its focus on commercialisation, and criticised Schwarzenegger's performance, saying it shows the comedic timing of a dead moose.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Put that cookie down!
Put the cookie down!
Which is obviously only written that way so that he had a line that he could try and make a catchphrase out of. To be fair, it works.
Yeah.
It's the worst I've ever heard trying to make a catchphrase out of an Arnie line.
Yeah.
Is a terrible film he was in called Raw Deal. And
is that the one where he plays a Russian?
No, that's Red Heat.
Red Heat.
Red Heat's all right. It's not great, but it's all right. Raw Deal is a terrible film, doesn't really do much, but also the only potential quotable line, and it's so over convoluted it doesn't work. He comes home, his wife's drunk and pissed off with him. He goes, "You're drunk again," and she throws this birthday cake at him because I think he missed his birthday or something like that. It slams against the cupboard wall next to him and splats on the floor, and he just goes, "You should not drink and bake."
That's lame.
Yeah, and it's like, there's only one reason you'd write a line like that, is you think it's going to be a catchphrase.
Yeah.
But it sucks, so it didn't become one.
And lastly, our old friend Roger Ebert gave the film 2.5 stars, writing that he liked a lot of the movie, which he thought had energy and humour which would have mass audience appeal. He was, however, disappointed by its relentlessly materialistic view of Christmas, and by the choice to go with action and mild violence over dialogue and plot.
Yeah.
Right. It also it was nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Direction.
Wow, the director's really taking a punch from this film.
Yeah. Ooh. And also, I don't know if you know this, because most people don't, and dear Lord, hopefully we never ever have to see it. Many, many years later, over 18 years later, the rights to Jingle All The Way to produce a sequel were purchased. By Vincent Kennedy McMahon and WWE Studios, who made Jingle All The Way 2, which went straight to DVD, starring Larry the Cable Guy, the awful comedian Larry the Cable Guy, and ex-WWE wrestler Santino Marella. Anywho. So there you go. There is a sequel to Jingle All The Way, in case you didn't know that, which I'm sure you probably didn't.
Have you seen it?
I have not. Fuck no.
I thought you'd have watched every WWE film production.
I watched, when they first started as a company, I watched probably the first, 7 or 8 films they made, and quickly realised that nearly all of them are terrible. And I will not watch anything with Larry the Cable Guy. I made the mistake of watching one thing with Larry the Cable Guy in it. He might be the least funny comedian there has ever been.
Wow.
I would rather watch Ricky Gervais than Larry the Cable Guy.
So I haven't really seen any Larry the Cable Guy.
He's just not funny. He's a right-wing redneck.
Right.
And that's the joke.
Oh. That's his only joke.
Yeah. Oh, I like NASCAR.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I don't care. Fuck off.
Yeah. Maybe it's funnier if you're American.
Maybe. Anywho. Okay, first of all, let's start with casting in this movie. Because we should never live in a world where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a character named Howard Langston.
No, it should be Larry the Cable Guy.
That makes more sense. I'm not going to lie, that makes more sense. This script must have been written with someone else in mind.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been. Because this character is clearly meant to be a middle-aged, slightly schlubby. So
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Vince Vaughn, Michael Keaton.
Yep.
Who else would have been good?
Would do the drama better than Vince Vaughn, but Vince Vaughn would also have would be known as a comedic actor more. Certainly at this point.
Was he back then in '96? This is the same year he did Lost World, the Jurassic Park sequel.
What, Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn's in Lost World, Jurassic Park. No, '96. This is the same year he did Psycho.
Oh yeah, good point. Either way, he's a bit more of an everyman. I think that's the idea, isn't it?
Luke Wilson.
The idea is this character's meant to be an everyman.
Yeah.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger is not an everyman.
Because, right at the end, I know we're jumping ahead of it, but my biggest problem with the whole film is at the end when people are acting like they don't know he's Turbo Man. I'm sorry, how many people do you know that talk like this? The minute he goes, Jamie, come get your doll, that kid should be like, oh
I like
hey,
that.
Dad.
No one gets it. It's so weird.
I like to imagine this is the origin story, the real origin
story. Turbo Man.
I like to imagine this is the real origin story of Darth Vader, though. That he was just disappointed that his dad kept letting him down, and that's why he went on to become Darth Vader.
Well, technically, in the prequel Star Wars trilogy, his dad lets him down completely.
Exactly.
Never turns up. Doesn't even know who he is.
Because isn't there an implication in the prequels that he is literally just born from the Force? Yeah. Like a fucking evil Jesus.
Basically.
I swear, baby, it was an immaculate conception. Don't lie to me, Mary. Who you been fucking?
I got fucked by God.
Meanwhile, these 3 shepherds boys are sneaking out the back, pulling up their pants.
Yeah, Jesus.
Arnold's a very weird fit in this movie. But, having said that, the film kind of only works because it's Arnold.
It's so ridiculous.
You couldn't have this ending with... let's say it was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
This ending would be ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
But it would be ridiculous.
But at least you could believe people would see him as Turbo Man because he's ripped as shit. Whereas, Michael Keaton almost always has been in good shape. But, not Arnold Schwarzenegger style, hench. But that's also part... The thing is, the casting of Arnold is both a strength for the thing, because it's an immediate draw. That's the main reason why I think anyone even bothered watching it.
100%. 110%.
And it's also, he works in terms of being able to put on the Turbo Man suit and be believably considered to be a guy performing Turbo Man.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the fact that his actual character in it is a, workaholic guy who's always at work, doesn't do anything else, so much so that he misses all the events with his family. But he's the most hench man in the room.
And he doesn't feel overworked either.
No.
Arnie always has. I don't know if you've ever noticed, Arnie, especially 90s era Arnie, and this is a good thing, and I think it's a big part of his appeal. He always seems like he's having so much fun acting.
Yeah.
Which is good, obviously. I'm glad he had a lot of fun. But you're meant to believe that he's this, like, chronically overworked dad, but he's literally there with the biggest fucking childlike grin on his face. You're my number one customer. And even when he accidentally says
And
it
he's
to
on
his
the phone talking to him. It's not in front of
yeah,
him.
and when he accidentally says it to his wife, it's not like, oh shit, I fucked up. Like, if it was Michael Keaton, he'd be like, God damn it. It's a oopsie sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can almost imagine him doing a Britney Spears and be like, oops, I did it again.
Well, here's the thing. I'd say Arnold's acting in this film is far from his best. Let's put it that way. There's parts where he feels like he's acting. Like I know everyone who's acting should feel like they're acting. But the whole point is we're meant to be soaked into them to believe.
You're not soaked in. You're
No.
watching it going, this is
is
the
Arnie sitting
Terminator
there going,
being silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Terminator punching a reindeer in the face. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The amount of crime he commits throughout this film.
Can we just talk
Talking about...
To be fair, this kid, his obsession with this toy, I remember being that young and I remember liking toys, but I was never so obsessed with any toy that I literally could quote the small print on the advert word for word. That bit happens and I was like, this is horrifying. This is a commentary on you didn't you?
Not me. Well, yeah. Me and my brother.
It was a Stretch Armstrong, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. Me and my
Barbie.
brother. No, it's Ghostbusters.
It was a Barbie.
It was Ghostbusters.
You can admit it, Rory. It was a Barbie.
It was Ghostbusters.
It was Barbie's.
In this day and age, if it was a Barbie,
Playhouse.
I'd admit it was a Barbie. It'd get me more kudos than Ghostbusters. But no, it was Ghostbusters. We wanted the truck, like the Ghostbusters car. We wanted the fire station that they are in.
So,
which we did get.
Me letting you have the Ecto 1 in Haunted's kind of wish fulfillment for you.
Mate, I fucking love the Ecto one.
Shame it's just audio, innit?
Yeah, I mean, if we ever did a film version, I would expect you to hire the Ecto one for me.
I'll just call Harold Ramis's estate.
Well, no, there are people that do, right, that have reproductions of. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. Get me the Ecto 1 chain.
But anyway, Phil Hartman is obviously the MVP of this movie.
Yeah, he's the best one in it.
Yeah. The wife is kind of there. Like, she doesn't do a bad job, but she doesn't stand out either.
They don't really give her an arc.
Yeah, to be fair, she's got... Unfortunately for this actress, there's nothing to that character.
She's there
beyond beleaguered mother.
Yeah, she's there to nag Arnie's character, be there as base level mum for the kid, and then to be the foil, like the foil of all of Phil Hartman's attention. But she doesn't really have an arc. She doesn't learn anything. She doesn't develop. She doesn't grow. She's just sort of the nag for one person and the victim of the other.
Yeah.
But she doesn't, even though she's tricked by Phil Hartman into thinking that he's a good guy, there's not a revelatory moment where she learns something from figuring out that he's actually a douchebag and just trying to shag everyone in town. She never has that moment.
Yeah.
Why?
I tell you what, Phil Hartman,
that would have been easy to put in.
Phil Hartman's got the best line in the film, and I hadn't remembered it, because everyone always remembers "put the cookie down."
Put the cookie down.
But Phil Hartman's actually got the best line in the film, because it's blatantly a line, if we're right, and this wasn't written for Schwarzenegger, it's blatantly a line that was added on the day. He might even have improv'd it, because Schwarzenegger's in it, because there's no build up to it, no set up to it,
No.
and that's when Schwarzenegger fucks up and he almost burns down his house, and he gets caught trying to steal the present.
Yeah.
And his wife basically has a massive argument and walks away, almost like she's left him, sort of thing. And he just turns around, Phil Hartman just turns around really spiteful and goes, "You can't bench press your way out of this one."
Yeah.
And you're like, where did that come from?
Because at no point have any of them referenced that he's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger shape.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in the rest of the script. It's the only line that references his
in
size.
fact, did you notice they deliberately dress him to try and hide it?
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing, like, baggy clothes. There are certainly no Predator close-ups of his bulging biceps.
Yeah, which is a shame, because that's what
That's kind of what I was there for.
All right.
I'm kidding.
I mean, that's fine. You do you.
Sinbad's fine in the movie. I mean, he plays the part fine. It's a very weird character, Sinbad's character.
Yes.
Because there's no sympathy towards him at all, is there?
No.
Even when this is a grown man who blames the fact that he's a loser on the fact that he didn't get one specific toy as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, grow the fuck up. But he does have one of the few he has one of the few jokes that did work for me in the film,
Yeah.
which is when he fakes the letter bomb with the principal from Sabrina.
Yeah.
In the radio station. It's
Yeah,
the principal
I
from
noticed
Sabrina,
that.
isn't it?
That was fun.
Principal Kraft, I want to say.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah. He fakes the letter bomb, and then in a following scene, he fakes the letter bomb again.
Yeah.
Except this time, him and Arnie run away, and the cop's like, "Don't worry, I used to be on the bomb squad." Opens it, and it actually blows up. And Sinbad's running away, and he stops. He looks back. He goes, "Wait, that was really a bomb? It's a sick world we live in. A sick world." And that actually did make me laugh. Although it's actually not funny when you think that there was a time when people were sending letter bombs.
Yeah.
Around that time.
Yeah, it was a problem, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah. So actually, maybe it's not that funny.
No, but So according to this, I'm just looking at some trivia.
Okay.
Um,
You're going to tell me this was tailor-made for Arnie, aren't you?
I'm not saying that. Apparently, I'm just saying that Sinbad's lines apparently were mostly ad-lib, as were most of Arnie's responses.
I'm not sure I believe that.
That's
No offense to Arnie. I can believe Sinbad improv'd everything.
Yeah.
I don't... maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misjudging Schwarzenegger. I don't think Arnie is a improv type actor. He's barely a normal type actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Arnie only signed on for the film in Feb, and it was shot so quickly. It just seems he was brought on board really last minute.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah.
It really feels like this was meant to have another actor in it who dropped out, and they ended up with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, there's no mention of Schwarzenegger's character meant to be played by someone else, but there is a mention of Sinbad's character meant to be played by someone else. So it was actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's agent that suggested Sinbad, because apparently the original idea was that character was going to be Joe Pesci.
Okay.
So, but
different movie. It's much more threatening when Joe Pesci threatens you with a letter bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. I think apparently he was rejected because Joe Pesci was too short, but he'd already done 2 films with Danny DeVito even shorter than Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of an odd reason. Or maybe it doesn't say it on here. Potentially, it's potentially because maybe they actually thought it would be too similar to having Danny DeVito again.
Yeah, maybe.
Having him big and short. But yeah, there's no mention of who else was in contention for Arnie's role.
Maybe they thought as well, because obviously this ends with a big fight. Maybe they thought it'd just look weird, Arnie beating up a little guy.
Joe Pesci going toe-to-toe with Arnie. Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on Joe Pesci in that, unless he had a knife. But in which case, to equal that out,
yeah,
it makes sense that they got... Like, Sinbad would be a ridiculous pick if it wasn't for the fact that Schwarzenegger himself is already a ridiculous pick.
Yeah.
And what's weird is that by putting Arnie in it, it also puts them in a corner, because then the character who Sinbad plays has to be a big guy. Yeah. Otherwise, that fight scene's unequal. Yeah. But then you've got to find someone even bigger.
Do you know who I could imagine?
For the big Santa, which they did find with the Big Show. But at the same time, you're like, how much easier would it have been to cast a Big Show character if your starting average dude wasn't Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. I tell you who I could picture in this movie, who did a Christmas movie not long after, well, I say not long after, it's about 10 years after this.
Tim Allen?
No. Have you ever seen Deck the Halls?
No.
So that's Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito.
Right.
I could see this with Broderick in the Schwarzenegger role and DeVito in the Sinbad role.
Okay.
Because Deck the Halls is very similar, where they're like DeVito's like they're fighting over something pathetic.
Sure.
In this, it's obviously trying to get a toy. In that, it's whose house has the most lights on it.
That seems to be a very weirdly American thing, is that people compete over lights, because apparently that's also a storyline in Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah.
There's a part where, like, the neighbour is like, oh, you know, I might put lights on your... Because I noticed you didn't have any lights. And it's like, in England, you'd get fucking bitch slapped. Yeah. If you climbed on someone else's house and set up Christmas lights, I went, well, I'd say you didn't set any up, so I thought I'd do this for you. It's like, bitch, get the fuck off my house.
Yeah.
Like, It wouldn't. Nobody said.
Which is ironic because you'd think you'd think it'd be the opposite way. In America, you'd think if you climbed on someone's house and put a thingy, you'd be eating fucking buckshot for breakfast.
Yeah,
Get off of my property.
But it's fine because you're doing it for the spirit of Christmas.
Jesus.
It's all for Jesus. I think as well it'd be a bit harder in the UK to like just start putting lights on people's houses because you wouldn't.
Let's be honest.
I think we've got more. Usually these are set in smaller suburbs.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, unless you're in very particular areas which are very small, you don't know if everyone in that house. I mean, we're also not majority Christian in the UK anymore.
Yeah.
Like in America, they're still majority Christian. Whereas in the UK, I think atheism is now the majority, quote unquote, religion. Yeah. But then there's also like a lot of Muslims. Yeah. It's like that, not quite, but nearly equal Christians now. Yeah. And it's like putting Christmas lights on someone's house. Yeah. You really
and we just also like, I don't want to be controversial here. We just don't like fun in the UK.
Yeah, even they do Halloween. But that one thing that I do lament is that we don't do Halloween as well as America. Yeah. Like Christmas, I don't care about, but
we're really
Halloween should be much more fun.
Yeah, we're really cynical about things in the UK.
Yeah, you can't have too much fun. Yeah. Fun within a framework.
Yeah, well, it's because people don't want the effort.
Yeah.
And they don't want to clean up and whatnot.
Yeah, I can't be asked with this.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah.
I've lived alone for like 5 years now. Those 5, so I think I've had 4 or 5 Christmases alone, right?
Oh.
I don't decorate the house. Because why would I bother when it's just me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, bear in mind, I don't have any Christmas decorations because I let my ex keep them all.
Yeah, my ex got all of mine.
So it would be effort for me to go and buy all decorations, put them up in a small flat, and there's only me here.
Yeah.
So, but that's me being just as guilty, because what I should do, because my friend lives alone, she still decorated, and she decorated, I don't mean she just put up a tree up, she did loads.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah, I'm hoping when I get my own flat, I'll be like, I'd like to decorate it a bit. I mean, I want to decorate in my own shit anyway.
Yeah.
But like to be able to decorate it for Christmas again, because I did enjoy doing that.
Yeah. I finally started putting my posters up again. I've only lived here for 2 years.
Golden hair.
It's not quite up even, but oh well.
That's all right. No lace or leather.
So the comedy in this, a lot of it is very slapstick.
Yes.
Like the bit where they storm the store.
Yeah.
And they literally run over the clerk.
And they get the boot prints.
The boot
on
prints.
His face.
They fight over the raffle balls, don't they?
Yep.
And then
he grabs a girl in a ball pit because
Yeah.
she's put the ball in her mouth.
And it's like, ease up, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but that's also ease up director, because obviously that didn't have to. Like, I understood the girl took the ball. Looked like a boy. I didn't know it was a girl, except when he says.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked when he said little girl, and I was like,
"Are you sure, Arnie?" But but the bit that didn't make any sense is the girl's in the ball pit. He picks up another big ball, a bigger ball, like not the small
you want
one.
this red shiny ball?
How about we trade? And it's like, do you really think she's going to trade? She's surrounded by the ball. She's in the ball pit.
Yeah.
Like, picking up one of those balls is not the same. But then she puts it in her mouth.
Well, kids do that, don't they?
But then he tries to force it out of her mouth.
I know.
It's like, oh, this hasn't aged well.
And then you obviously have, he meets Jim Belushi, who is a mall Santa. Mm-hmm. And he says, I know how to get a Turbo Man doll. It's very funny, isn't it, that no one likes the other Turbo Man, the sidekick?
Yeah.
Which I think is a reference to He-Man, isn't it? Because didn't He-Man have a sidekick called, like, Man-Beast or something that no one liked?
See, I don't recall there being one that no one liked, but I was quite young when this came out still. If anything, I would imagine it's Man-at-Arms that they're talking about. Because Man-at-Arms was... Here's a line that just makes me laugh because it's so ridiculous. Bear in mind, the world of He-Man, you've got fucking He-Man himself, who's ridiculous. Krinjor, his battle cat. You've got Skeletor, a man who's a buff.
Battle Cat's who I was thinking of.
Oh,
because this thing's like a tiger thing,
Yeah,
isn't
I think it might be Krinjor, the battle cat that he has. But there's... Man-at-Arms has this line in one of the He-Man episodes where he just goes... This kid goes... It goes, who the hell are you? And he's like, my name's Man-at-Arms. He goes, that's a stupid name. And he goes, "My friends call me Duncan." I don't know why. The fact his fucking name is Duncan in the middle of He-Man, and he's. But the kid just replies, "Well, that's a stupid name as well." And I'm like, "Yes, it is. That's actually weirder than Man at Arms for the universe
hey,
you're
careful.
in."
We have a friend named Duncan. Don't say it's a stupid
No,
name.
it's a stupid name for the universe they're in.
Yes.
Because it's He-Man, Man at Arms,
Duncan.
and Duncan. It's like, what the fuck?
Isn't E-Man's real name Adam, though?
Yeah, but that's Prince Adam.
Oh, well, Prince makes all the difference.
Prince does make all the
So
difference.
anyway.
He's got purple haze.
They go to like this dodgy warehouse where there's a load of Santas who are basically shipping Spanish versions of Turbo Man
That aren't
properly assembled. Arnold demands his money back, and this is where you get cameos from Vern Troyer from Austin Powers, and from The Big Show from WWE.
Yep.
I think he's in AEW now, but who cares? He's way past the point where he should have retired, so who cares? And Big Show punches Vern Troyer, and I'm pretty sure Vern Troyer dies.
Well, no, Vern Troyer survives long enough to be in Postal.
I mean, if it was a legit punch, I'm pretty sure Vern Troyer would be dead.
Yes. Oh, well, I don't know.
Big Show's fist is the size of a normal man's head.
Yeah, I know, but Troyer is, like, compact, so, like, all the bones would be closer together, so it would protect against the impact more.
I don't think that's how that works.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Anyway,
Imagine me as a doctor.
let's get to the end of the film, because the film takes. Let's first of all talk about how big an arsehole Schwarzenegger is, because he then, after he's been through all this and he hasn't managed to get a Turbo Man doll, he then decides, fuck it, the fact my neighbour's an arsehole means I'm justified in stealing his son's present.
Yeah.
Again, not the son's done nothing wrong.
No, but I sort of figured that this was going to happen because it's mentioned that before he goes for the hunt for the.
Oh yeah,
Turbo Man,
100%. When he's like, I got mine weeks ago. It's sitting right under
and I'm
my
like, well,
tree.
yeah,
it's like, well, Arnold's gonna steal that.
Yeah, this guy's too annoying, and he's already given Arnie his out straight away.
Let me ask you: was it a weird thing when they're like, they treat Phil Hartman putting the star on top of the tree?
Yeah.
When Schwarzenegger usually does it every year. They proper try and make that like he's stealing your manhood type thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's a fucking star on top of a tree.
But
it's about what the star represents, damn
But
it.
again, like, with the bits I've seen from Christmas with the Cranks and stuff like that, in America, at least as far as their media shows, this may just be the media, the way they ramp shit up in Christmas movies. But it does seem to be like there's
the man of the house puts the star on top of the tree.
Yeah, and the man of the house puts the lights up. Like, it happened a few times in Home Improvement, the TV series with Tim Allen. And no doubt it happened in Christmas with the Cranks with Tim Allen. It happens in a lot of stuff with Tim Allen. But this... that man has a lot to answer for. Except for Home Improvement, it's great. Sorry, I do love Home Improvement. It seems to be a thing that happens frequently, and I think there's been like nods to it in things like Modern Family and things like that. Not quite as extreme. Tim Allen seems to like to push it to its top level of insanity. But yeah, it seems to happen regularly in American TV and cinema, which again, completely different from the UK.
Oh no, my manhood's being infringed because someone else put the star on the tree.
Yeah, if I came home and someone had put the star on the tree, quite often, back when I was in a relationship, it was my ex that did it because it was also her tree in her house. And I wouldn't be like, don't you dare put that star on the tree. It's my job. My tree. I put the star on the tree. I don't understand. It's just not something that's British. Yeah. I don't understand it as a pinnacle of masculinity.
So him fighting the reindeer's dumb as fuck. We can agree on that, right?
I don't understand why there's an angry reindeer and why he punched... Because the reindeer story arc never gets resolved.
And the reindeer behaves like a dog as well.
Yeah.
Like it literally
and
growls at him and whatnot.
Yeah, it snarls, and I'm pretty certain there's a lion sound or something like that they use as the snarl noise, because reindeers don't snarl like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he then gets the last you see of the reindeer is he actually gets the reindeer drunk. Did you notice?
Yeah. And I'm like, that's the last we see of the reindeer. And you're like, are we teaching kids to get reindeer drunk? Like, what?
Because this is the point where the whole film just takes a twist for the bizarre. Because he ends up going to the parade, and through a mix-up, he ends up getting put in the Turbo Man outfit.
For the parade.
Now, okay. I know it's just a Christmas film, we shouldn't be picking it apart. But let's say that happens because Arnold happens to be built big. Why on earth would the Turbo Man suit at a parade have a working jetpack, working discs it can throw?
Yep.
And why would
what's
the villain
works as
Dementor?
well.
Dementor.
Yeah, he's actually
why would Dementor's fist fire like a weapon? Like
it didn't make any sense.
Like what the?
So yeah, the finale is really where the film falls apart. Like the rest of it is all right, but the rest of it plays like a Christopher Columbus style
Christmas
movie. But then that finale,
Christmas is gone. It's out the window. Christmas is.
Yeah, it's now just about Turbo Man and the superhero element.
It's
actually
time.
Yeah, but it's actually playing it as a superhero.
Yeah,
and it's like, but we haven't had that before. Like the whole point is Arnie's a normal everyday man, which may sound ridiculous, but that's the premise you gave me.
I feel like they must have rewritten the entire third act when Arnie came on board.
Yeah,
because I can't imagine them doing that with, like we said, Michael Keaton or someone.
Yeah, and Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
Joe Pesci's fist coming off and punching someone in the face.
Yeah,
you know, it's obviously those things are set up at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense for them to happen in reality.
Yeah. And like I said, no one would be surprised it's Arnold.
No.
Because as soon as he opens his mouth, you'd be like, oh, Howard.
See, where with Terminator, Arnie was supposed to be Reese, and it was meant to be O.J. Simpson as the Terminator, because O.J. Simpson's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And also he would blend into a crowd more. When they saw Arnie, when James Cameron saw Arnie, he was looking at him and the way the light hit his face and the way he's built. This guy's got to be the Terminator.
Yeah.
Now, it technically doesn't make sense to build someone like Arnie to blend into a crowd, because he doesn't blend into a crowd.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense that he's a machine.
Yeah, and like the way he maneuvers, like the shape, the size of him, he's got to hide complex mechanics. It won't necessarily be a tiny person. Yeah. It's got to be quite built. Arnie's the right fit for that. So even though logically he fails at the mission of blending in, he works as a robot.
Yeah.
With this, him being like they can't make a decision on what he should be, because he should be an average looking guy.
Yeah.
But he's built like a brick shithouse. But then the way that the ending is wouldn't work if he wasn't built like a brick shithouse, because he'd just be, I don't know, average man.
Yeah.
Like
he wouldn't get mixed up for Turbo.
No,
Man.
like a guy. Imagine if you put like, I don't know, who's the dude? Kevin, not Kevin Smith. Or Kevin Smith, but like
Kevin James.
Yes, yeah, the guy
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
That's it, yeah. You could I could imagine this film with him in the lead, but then this ending wouldn't work.
So that's how Larry the Cable Guy's built. He's built like
right,
Kevin James.
Yeah, but that's where it doesn't make sense, because the first 2/3 is built for a guy like Kevin James, and the finale is built for someone like Arnie.
Yeah,
and the two don't gel very well. You know, and it's such a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Arnie had this problem, though, with a few of his comedies in the 90s. With something like Kindergarten Cop, they kept it simple. He's a cop. He always was a cop. And he happens to be thrown...
water element. To be honest, that's probably the best comedy he did.
Yeah.
Easily.
Cop,
because it makes sense. The whole point is it's a fish out of water comedy.
Yeah.
And it's even more exaggerated with him, because he's so clearly not meant to be in a kindergarten.
Yeah. Whereas the opposite is true with... this is a lot more similar to Last Action Hero. Whereas, again, in that, he's built as being Arnie. Yeah. And it has that switch up towards the end where it goes from being, you know, a bit of fun and a tongue-in-cheek look at the action genre to being in the real world. And it has like that 5 seconds of being almost having a point where, what's his name, the villain kills someone in the real world. That's it, Charles Dance.
I just shot someone and I did it on purpose.
And no one cares. Shut the hell up. You know, that was at the point where the film should have changed and become a bit more deep. But that's the only part they used of it, and then it just became action schlock in the real world again. This has a similar problem, whereas it sticks with being silly, but it jumps up to the 11th.
Yeah. It's really silly. It's
I
really
didn't feel
dumb.
that Arnie's character learned anything.
No.
Because he wins
literally
by
doesn't-
luck.
He literally doesn't learn anything. Did you watch the post-credit sequence?
Oh, he forgets to get his wife a present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally, ends on the proper zoom into him being like, oh. Maybe Tim Allen was meant for this role.
Oh, mate. You know what? Tim Allen would have worked in this role, in terms of the plot, because at the time he was not, he
This was
in
Home
shape.
Improvement era, Tim Allen,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so he was still in shape.
In fact, 96, I think this was the year he did the Santa Claus. So it's funny, he's making Christmas films the same year this comes out.
Yeah, because it was all with Disney, wasn't it? Because Home Improvement was ABC, which is part owned by Disney. And then Disney brought him on board and stuck him in contracts. Was like, well, you have to be Santa Claus forever.
Yeah, Toy Story, yeah.
But the thing is, he was in shape, so he could have done both scenes a little bit more believably, if you can believe Tim Allen. But this, I like Tim Allen. I don't understand the hate against him. Like, if you don't like him politically, that's fine, but that doesn't change the way his roles are. Yeah. Except for in Last Man Standing, because that's about him being a right winger. So that's kind of a slightly different one. But yeah, I can imagine Tim Allen could have done both parts of this. But even then, like the extremity of it, the goofiness is I think this is only remembered because Arnie's in it. I'm going to be honest.
100%.
If anyone, certain parts of this would work better. Like, I actually genuinely, now, having said that, this film would be better if Tim Allen was the main character. It would be more believable. But it would not actually be a better film, and it would not be as well remembered.
No.
Arnie is what makes it memorable, despite the fact that he's not the best thing in it, and despite the fact that actually it doesn't work because of him.
Well, even the last sweet bit at the end doesn't work, where the kid gives up the Turbo Man doll to Sinbad anyway, doesn't he? And he goes, "Why do I need the doll when I've got the real Turbo Man at home?" Kid, you don't think they're going to let your dad keep that suit, do you? In fact, your dad's probably going to jail, actually.
Yeah, the amount of crimes he's committed in
why
one
do
day.
they only arrest Sinbad?
Yeah, they never...
both of them should get arrested.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he actually does more than... no, he doesn't actually. Sinbad
causes
does
loads
the
of
bomb
property
things.
damage, doesn't he?
He does property damage. He impersonates a cop at one point. He's, there's a lot of crimes he commits, like assault of a child in the ball pit, even though, it was just to try and get the ball back. Nonetheless, that would still be considered to be assault. Yeah. There's a lot of things that they both should be arrested for. And also, how is Sinbad going to get the toy to his kid if he's in prison?
Yeah. And you never see Sinbad's kid either.
No.
So I misremembered,
I thought it was going to turn out that he just wanted it for himself in the
I
end.
misremembered and thought that was what it turned out.
Yeah.
That he was just a sad little man who still played with toys. No offence to people who collect toys.
No, but because at the beginning
actually,
he's
yes,
like...
offence. It's really weird that people buy toys and never take them out of their packaging. That's so weird. It's so weird to me. I know they do. I know people do it, and it's part of collecting. And fair enough, live your life.
It's just not for you.
Do what you want to do. But I was listening to a podcast the other day where someone was on about how they've got the Resident Evil Code Veronica soundtrack album on vinyl that's got all this lovely artwork in it, but they've never seen the artwork because they've never opened it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what?
So it's because some things aren't designed to be easily accessible without possibly damaging it. So I've done something recently that some people would love and some people would hate. Whereas I'm
going to hate this, Arda.
Maybe.
I'm going to hate this. Go on.
I got a 1993 Sonic calendar. Right?
With
some amazing artwork. You've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, I've seen in our Discord on VGMP where someone said that they wouldn't have...
They would have kept it as a calendar. Now, the thing is, the calendar is A2 size, so they're quite big. And they're really good artworks. It's the only large-scale versions of these artworks that were professionally printed. So I was like, I really want to see these, but I don't want to keep boshing out a 1993 calendar. Yeah. But they're really good artworks, and they're almost self-framed as well, because they've done in that Mega Drive box art style, where you've got like the grid at the side, a frame, and then the artwork within the frame. So I was like, these look really cool. How am I going to show these? So what I did was I removed them from the calendar
and framed them,
and I had to get like A2 black backing so that you wouldn't see the notches at the top of the frame. Because obviously at the top it's notched where it would have been flipped on a flipped calendar. So I framed them. So now I can see them. I see them every day. They're really nice artworks and they go really well together.
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody was like, I would have kept it as a calendar. But I'm like, yeah, I can understand because technically I should have kept it as a calendar. There's people out there who are collectors who'd be like, why have you ruined the damn calendar? But I'm like,
But you'll get no enjoyment out of it.
yeah, I'll get nothing out of the calendar because it'll only go in my lockup and go nowhere. In my lockup, it could not necessarily get damp because it's a really good lockup, but at the same token, it could.
Also, you could get burgled.
Well, it could age, and I'll have never seen any of it. And the worst, at best, it'll probably get damaged somehow in a move or something like that. It could get damaged. It could get problem. There could be any number of problems that will happen with it, and I'll never have enjoyed it. And if I die, someone else will go in there, and go, fucking 93 calendar. Why have we got this? Bin it. It won't go anywhere. It'll just go in the bin eventually. Where it's artwork now, at least I get to enjoy it while I have it.
Yeah.
But I can understand both sides because some people will be like, you should never, destroy what this was to make it into something else. Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. I don't really have much more to say about Jingle All The Way. It's the epitome of a okay film.
I think we should talk about the direction because it was so badly slammed. I think it would be interesting for us to look at it as a directorial piece.
Uninspired is the word I'd use.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was bad.
No, I didn't watch it and go, this is terribly done. I don't understand that level, but it isn't...
Whereas in...
it's uninspired by a long margin. There's nothing in it
It looks like
that
TV directing. But look at that guy's filmography. We read through it.
Yeah.
Nothing on there is well known for its direction.
No.
I feel like, and I don't want to slag anyone off, but I feel like Brian Levant is... he's a gun-for-hire type director.
Yeah.
He doesn't really bring his own vision to the project.
Sure.
But he can meet the deadlines, he can come in on budget, and deliver a watchable movie.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's its own skill.
Yeah.
Because, people give all this praise to directors like Kubrick and stuff, and that's great. But you can't run a business. Low budget. Yeah, you can't run a business with a Kubrick.
Or a Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Because you need people who can make their deadlines.
You need people who can churn it out as well as you need artistes.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really pretentious, artistes, but there are people like that. Like Christopher Nolan, I couldn't imagine going, right, your next film, you're only going to get 2 million, see what you can do.
Yeah.
And I know that 2 million sounds a lot, but if you think about it in film terms,
it
it's really not.
quickly with film.
But if you were to go, like, you've only got 2 million or 20 million,
Yeah.
like, his films are hundreds of millions by now. Easy. Because and to be fair, he's got big visions and he's got big artistic things he does with, like, at least with the visuals.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. But again, it's like one of those things, you need someone who you can just go, look, we're doing Jingle All The Way. It's 20 million. Do what you can.
Yeah.
Get it into me in time and don't go over budget. If I went to Christopher Nolan, do Jingle All The Way. I don't think he'd do it. But let's... I don't know why. He'd be like, why the fuck am I listening to you?
Jingle All The Way with Cillian Murphy in it.
It would definitely have Cillian Murphy in it. But yeah, like, even if he was like, that sounds interesting, I'll do what I can, that's not a $20 million film.
No.
Not anymore.
That budget's ballooning.
As soon as he got it, it's now 100 million minimum.
Yeah.
And so... Yeah, you need directors who can sort of you need different directors who can do different skills.
Yeah.
It's the reason why TV directing, I mean, they slagged it off as it looks like a TV direction, as if that's shit.
Yeah.
But actually, TV directors have to be more constant than film
it's
directors.
a completely different set of skills.
Yeah.
TV directors have to be quick.
Yeah.
Like, if you listen to any interviews with TV directors, so I listened to Postmortem with Mick Garris. Mick Garris has done both feature film and TV.
Yeah.
And when he talks about TV, it's like it's a completely different skill set. Because, for example, he did a couple of episodes on a show called Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
He was saying, and I don't know why this never occurred to me before, he said, you don't get told at the beginning of the season, oh, you're going to be brought on to do episode 12, it's about this. They book a time in your diary when you are free, and whatever episode is in production at
That's
that
the
time,
one you're doing.
that's what you do. You get the script the night before you go on set.
Yeah, which is why there's often, certainly in classic TV sense, it might be different now because of the way the streaming is doing things, but certainly in a traditional TV sense, there's not a lot of artistic direction, and I don't mean that as in there's no art to it.
No,
I mean
but
that
there's
there's
no
no
time.
Yeah, there's no, like, they're not sat there and gone, right, how can we do this in a really unique, inspired
Well,
way?
when you
Because they've
think-
got 24 hours to think the whole fucking thing.
I'm gonna say, you think when it was 24 episodes a season, like an American season,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking more than an episode a week has to be shot. Really?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think an episode a week
So
is about right.
It was an episode a week for
Because
with things like Star
they'd
Trek
be
and
on
that.
set for 24 episodes,
Yeah.
for 24 weeks.
Yeah, but as a director, you've got to get that all done. But also, usually, different shows. I knew this was the case for Star Trek anyway. They have like you get like a bibliography of or a Bible, a series Bible for characters and what they are and their overall narrative, etc. They also sometimes have a series Bible for camera work.
Right.
So there are, like, Patrick Stewart talked about this because Patrick Stewart directed a couple of episodes, and several Star Trek actors got a start at trying direction on Star Trek while they were in it. And they said, they could add flair to certain things, but most of the shots were predetermined.
Yeah.
Because there was basically like a Bible of shots.
These are the setups we have.
Yeah, and you could do certain things like, oh, actually, can we try a crane shot for this? Or like, not a crane, like a panning shot for this. And they could add these little flourishes. But overall, it was like, it still needs to look like the same show. Yeah. So that you didn't get... Because the idea, otherwise, you'd end up with 15 directors doing 24 episodes... And you'd end up like, well, these are clearly the David Fincher episodes, and these are clearly the Christopher Nolan episodes, and these are the Kubrick episodes, and these are the, it would be so blatant that these are all mishmash.
Except, and what's funny is then years later, in the early 2000s, I think this was, or mid 2000s, CSI?
Yes.
They had their season 6 finale, I think it is. It's a 2-parter directed by Quentin Tarantino.
All right.
And they deliberately marketed the fact that Tarantino had directed it and that it wouldn't look like a normal CSI.
Right.
They used that to their advantage.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, yeah, Tarantino's come and done it, and we've let Tarantino do what Tarantino does.
Yeah, we're not going to tell Tarantino how to direct.
Yeah, really odd choice for Tarantino as well.
Though he does want to do a new Star Trek as well.
Yeah, well, apparently it's not happening anymore, is it? Because it was going to be like R-rated Star Trek.
Yeah,
He'd have fucking Sam Jackson as a fucking Klingon doing his, yea, though I walk through the valley of death.
I like Tarantino, but I think his Star Trek would have been a shit Star Trek.
I can't imagine him doing Star Trek.
I don't think...
Star Trek has an optimism to it that I can't imagine Tarantino doing.
Yeah, he's... The optimism that Tarantino has in his films tends to be a tongue-in-cheek, it's so mental, but, like, there's a bit of fun in this. Like, almost a bit of narcissism, I suppose. Not from him, but, like, the characters. Like, when the guy gets shot in the face in Pulp Fiction, I just shot Marvin in the face. It's like, it's almost too calm that it becomes comical. That's not really what Star Trek's positivity is. Anyway, we've gone off topic.
Anyway, so there we have it, guys. That is the first of our Christmas films for this lovely Christmas. That hopefully will be a lovely Christmas. But we're recording in August, so we don't know. But yeah, we will see you on the next episode for more Christmas-themed movies. And we hope you all have a lovely run-up to the holidays. Catch you later.